Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between the Benches. I'm your host, Dom, and host, Jake.
What's up?
How's it going? What a Game 1 opening 2 days to the Stanley Cup Championship. Nope. Stanley Cup playoffs. Thank you.
Off to a great start.
Off to a great start. That was, what a way. But what a great Game 1 for every series, pretty much, no?
Pretty much. Just only one. It's like, there was two games where it's like, okay, let's pick this up already.
And we had such a the day one was great. Day one to me was phenomenal. Day one I thought was one of the best opening days for playoffs in a couple years at least. I felt like we had some really great games. 2 overtime games. And they showed a stat during the overtime, which I thought was pretty cool, by the way. Most games or most days in a playoffs where there was 2 overtime games or more a night last year was one time. That happened one time. Year before that, I think, was one time. Then the year before that was like 5. Year before that was like 6. So we already started with day one. So hopefully, we get some more action like we did day one. 2 overtime games, a double overtime thriller. It was a great day, I thought.
Thriller is the right way to put that one.
Thriller is the only way. That might be an understatement, to be honest. We had the entire West all win on the road. So that was pretty wild. 6 out of the 8 teams, or 6 out of the 8 series, was an away win. So that's substantial. Some of those teams stole games away. So that's a big deal.
Well, one definitely stole a game away.
Yeah, maybe even a few stole a game away for sure. Let's go right into this thriller though. Let's talk about the double overtime thriller. All right, the Minnesota Wild over the Dallas Stars, double overtime. If you look there, there's the little 2 OT on the final, and this was, man, what an absolute treat this was. Day one of the playoffs, an absolute thriller for everyone watching this, for probably both fan bases, to be honest. I don't know how disappointed Dallas fans could be with the game itself, because it was just, it was such a great game. Where do you want to start here?
Well, to begin with, if you missed that second period, I feel bad for you. Because that was one wild period, no pun intended.
Yeah. And wild period. Thank you. It was, the whole game was so great. There wasn't a bad period in the game. It was action all game, beginning to end. It was, I don't know if you would call that a low scoring game, 3-2, but you're talking about 5 periods of hockey, only 5 goals altogether. So maybe a low scoring
playoff
game.
Score.
It is great. It's the playoff score if you were to have one, probably. It was just such a great game, though. Such a great game. What did we talk about? It would be the biggest deal in this game.
Goaltending?
Goaltending. The goaltending was massive. Goaltending was insane this game. Absolutely nuts this game.
Both sides was just nuts.
Just the only reason it was double overtime is not because there weren't chances. All right, there were chances all over the place. No shortage of chances whatsoever. The goaltending was spectacular. Jake Ottinger was absolutely unfair, completely unreal. Minnesota had chances in overtime, like breakaway, like one-on-one chances, maybe just one guy to beat kind of chances. Great quality shots on net, quality plays. Jake Ottinger did not budge. Same with Gustafsson, Philip Gustafsson. Great goaltending. It wasn't maybe as spectacular as Ottinger. It didn't need to be, which is fine. But just absolute thriller, beginning to end. Goaltending was unreal, beginning to end. What else? What else you got for this game? I got a lot, so
Well, besides that, like they both had game stealing worthy games of each of them, and
Yes.
somebody had to hold the loss on it.
Yes, 100%. And then for all to end. Well, you know what? Let's not talk about the end yet. Let's not get there yet. Sam Steele, great game, beginning to end. There's a lot of individuals we have to talk about during this game. Sam Steele stepped up his first playoff game ever after being in the league for 5 years, I want to say. It was on Anaheim. So it's not really, not a big surprise. He hasn't played a playoff game yet. But stepped up in a role that was huge. Played that second line center where Joel Eriksson Ek would be. But did a phenomenal job where he needed to. Played both sides of the ice very well. And then had that chance. Got rewarded with that chance. Breakaway. Easy goal.
He made the whole play happen.
He did.
Blocks the shot at the point, and then just decides to take off, and Nyquist can find him.
Yeah, that's it. And they had a great connection all game. All game had a great connection.
You got to really consider whether you want to shift things around too much when Ek gets back.
Yeah, well, that's the whole
At
thing.
least those two worked really well together.
They did. They did. And that's the whole thing about this team. This team's deep, man. This team has guys that have not played, aren't playing at the moment, could easily slot in and make a difference in this roster. And you know what? Let's talk about that, because now's a perfect time to show it. So this was a tweet right here, Michael Russo. Great follow for Minnesota. If you need news, other things like that. Says Oscar Sundqvist is gonna make his debut tonight to the series. Also mentioning scratches like Goligoski still, Klingberg still, Eriksson Ek still. Also mentioning Johansson and Goudreau a little bit banged up. It was a tough game. You had guys get hurt. Kirill Kaprizov went down. All right, and you know what? I'm gonna address that actually. Now that I just brought it up, the Kaprizov part. Suter came in. Kaprizov's sitting right on the crease. Okay, that's defensively. You don't want a guy there. Dallas does not want any guy there at any point in time. Big part of hockey, big part of the playoffs, is getting a guy there offensively and defensively, stopping anyone from being there. And when they are there, you got to make them pay a little bit. That's just simple. That's message sending. That's gamesmanship.
We are definitely bringing that point up in a couple series later.
Yes,
because
100%.
it showed.
It did. But Dallas, Suter comes in, gives him a little cross check to like the hip area, kind of back area, a little bit, below any kind of padding, stuff like that. Kaprizov goes down, clearly hurt. Now, commentary team wasn't very happy about it. I'm sure Minnesota fans might not have been very happy about it. I had no issue with it. It's going to happen. It's playoffs. You can't just lock down a game from the ref perspective. You can't lock down a game like that too much.
They tried to.
They did in a couple areas, 100%. But they let them play, and it happened. And Kaprizov, thankfully, is perfectly fine. He showed it for a little bit and then continued to play. Everything was good. Also, I believe third period, maybe it was overtime, period one, right in the beginning, Ryan Hartman looked to be very hurt. Had a hard time putting any weight whatsoever on one leg. It was not pretty on the bench, getting to the bench afterwards. But he stepped up, made plays in overtime constantly. Like, he had chances, made chances in overtime, defensive plays, was everywhere in overtime despite being as hurt as he was. I don't currently know his status. I haven't seen anything about his status I
didn't even see anything like the next morning, that night.
No, I think he's okay.
You couldn't find a replay of it.
But also, guys play hurt sometimes, very hurt in playoffs. So that wouldn't be surprising me if that was his case. But he's good enough to play. Obviously good enough to play. He won the game in overtime. And all it took... See, and I think that's what it really was down to, man. Who was going to make the first real mistake? Who was going to have a puck bounce in the wrong direction for them? And that's exactly what happened. Minnesota earned it 100%. Either team would have earned it at any point in time during that. But wrong bounce, great bounce for Minnesota, and capitalized, made it happen. I mean, there were shots. Shots had to be 50 plus both sides.
Gustafson, I saw when he had 48 saves.
I want to say it was 53 saves. I want to say it was 53 saves, and I was going to look this up too, because I was very curious. The Stars. Let's start with the Stars.
Because it was,
Okay.
I believe it was the most saves in a Minnesota
It was.
history of a playoff game.
It was. It was also the longest game in a Minnesota playoff game ever. Jake Ottinger had 45 saves out of 48 shots, so that didn't go 50 plus. Gustafsson had 51 saves, faced 53 shots. So, I mean, that's identical games, almost, right? You're only talking about like a 5-shot difference here.
The whole game was identical. Like they were two very, very even, similar teams that just
So matched.
absolutely hammered each other for, 2 extra periods.
So matched, 100%. And kind of the tail of the tape for a lot of this Minnesota games was these young guys, these debut guys. You had Brock Faber in his 3rd NHL game ever hold his own where he had to at times where he really needed to. Saved the game. Literally saved the game at one point. And now he had some moments that I was watching where it was like, oh, whoa, like, welcome to the NHL, buddy. Like, he had some moments where, he's facing legit NHL playoff players, know what they're doing. But, he held his own for a great deal of the game.
He had a good game.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was an okay game. Like I know there was one moment that stuck out in my mind where Sagan had a vintage moment of himself and took Faber to school down low.
Yeah.
But which that's another thing. Like that was pleasantly surprising that after all these years, like Sagan looked like himself.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously doesn't have the speed anymore because of his hip and legs and whatever all the other numerous injuries he's had.
Also needed to step up from the, I want to say 3rd line center role maybe, to that Pavelski role, or at least into that position where Pavelski was. And let's talk about the Pavelski part. All right.
Do you want to save this for when we compare it to Bunting, or do it now?
Let's just mention it. All right. So Pavelski got hurt, looked awful, looked like not the hit, just the aftermath. Face down on the ice, shades of San Jose versus Vegas from a couple. Right, Vegas, was that Vegas? L.A. It was Vegas.
No, it was Vegas
from a couple years ago, but was not pretty. Obviously, was worried about him. It wasn't a great situation. I want to say he's not gonna play next game tonight.
I believe they said that already basically said he's not playing the rest of the series.
That's a
because
very.
I saw something that came out
tough.
today that said like we are hoping to be able to be still playing when he comes back.
Yeah.
Which to me sounded like playing for a round 2.
Yeah, it has to be at that point. So that's something that Tyler Seguin's gonna have to step up, be put in that role, and that just is what it is. Thankfully, it's a team that's very deep in the forward depth. Guys can slot in, and we'll see how that goes. But
called up Riley Tufte too.
Okay.
So
now this also brings me to something else. All right, I want to talk about something else. I'm gonna throw out there for every series that we talk about. Well, it's gonna be every series so far. The Athletic put out an article, including something called the Concern-O-meter. Okay, which I actually kind of like this idea. All right, I don't agree with everything they had on it, but it's basically like for every team that lost or is losing in the series, what's the level of concern out of 10? Okay, and for the Dallas Stars, they are a 4 out of 10 on the concern meter. Okay, I don't think it should be a 4 out of 10, personally.
like a 2.
Yeah, maybe a 2 because these are two very close teams. But I did read their reasoning to why, and the biggest reason for them was Joe Pavelski not being a part of this game anymore. And that's a valid point. Joe Pavelski is a big part of the playoffs for the Dallas Stars, and they said if Joe Pavelski was going to be playing immediately again, they would put it around a 2 out of 10. So that's a valid point. You said it. The Joe Pavelski part was the biggest factor. I think it's okay to maybe say 4 out of 10, right? But I still don't think it's 4 out of 10. I would say still 2 out of 10. This is a very good team still. Jake Ottinger keeps them in it, and it's just, you know. And again, I was talking about, it was the young guys that did a lot during this game. Brock Faber was one of them. Sam Steele we already talked about, or at least the people that debuted. And then other side of the net, Philip Gustafsson was the other guy. First ever playoff game in the NHL. And, you know, kind of showed maybe a little bit early, you know. Maybe not the best goals to have led up, but he still put his foot down.
Well, when
And,
you win face-offs that clean,
Yes,
you don't really have time to get over for those .1-timers.
that's probably every part of this game was so even except for maybe the face-offs. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that was the outlier in this whole thing was Dallas cleanly winning face-offs. That was 100% one of maybe the biggest factor, right?
Oh, they dominated the face-offs. Like, it wasn't close. And that's for another team that's pretty good in face-offs themselves,
Yes.
that they're in their own right.
So, during their season series, Minnesota only did better in faceoffs one other game than Dallas or against Dallas. They had 2 4-1 losses during the season to Dallas, both where Dallas controlled the faceoff circle. So that's a little bit of a tale of tape right there, you know. Joel Eriksson Ek being back eventually when he is. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I showed that thing earlier with the tweet. When he comes back, that's going to change a little bit, you know. He's a great face-off taker. But still, they need to get a better control of that. And I'm sure, you know, our dude guy Dean will get the boys on a better track there with the face-offs. So I'm not too worried.
Well, Dallas was the best face-off team all year by some margin.
That's fair. That's very valid. Yeah. You know, Minnesota does a good job of overcoming that, at least. You know, when they were losing face-offs back-to-back, they did continue to play so well, and it really didn't become that big of a part of the game. But there were a few times, you know, that makes a difference. When you're on a power play and the penalty kill unit is cleanly winning a face-off to clear the puck immediately, that's an issue, you know? So, but let's move. We could talk about this series for a long time, I'm sure. You know, let's move on to our next series. Our next series, we go east side now. All right, the Carolina Hurricanes won over the New York Islanders. Not a big surprise, 2-1, close game. But this is basically where me and Jake had this going. You know, now I will say, the Islanders surprised me a little bit.
Not really.
I didn't expect them to control the game as much as they might have.
But they didn't really.
I think they did. I expected.
Like, at no point did they make Carolina look stressed.
I agree with that. But I would say I'm not gonna try to find it, but I would say what it looked like to me was that the Islanders had offensive possession much more than the Carolina Hurricanes had. But I mean, it's the Carolina Hurricanes. They have a great defense. I think they let that happen a little bit because they're comfortable with their game. They're comfortable where they're playing.
So, like we touched on, like, this is going to be the series of who makes mistakes.
Yes.
And 2 power play goals
And that's
versus a broken play.
Yeah.
And that's the only goals that were scored.
And that Islanders goal was maybe a little bit lucky. You know, it wasn't like you had to have a bounce or two in there. You know, it wasn't you
They
weren't
got a
making the
bounce
whole
and
thing.
they cashed in. That's the only time they really threatened. I mean, it was in a broken play and it just...
Yeah. And Carolina's power play unit, right, was in some places people might have said laughable at times. Okay? Like, their power play percentage was not good. It did not seem like it was showing up in games. All right? There are only 2 goals this game. Power play goals. That's gigantic. That's a huge adjustment that they made. That's an issue for the Islanders. If they're letting Carolina, who whose main issue was that power play special teams, if they're letting that be a part of the game, the biggest part of the game so far, that's an issue, you know? And that's something the Islanders will have to address. They cannot take penalties, obviously.
Well, you clearly can if you're not going to be able to score because
Yeah.
they are. The one note I have, they're in deep water offensively
Yeah,
because if they cannot come back whatsoever. If they get a 1 or 2 down, they are screwed.
yeah, yeah.
The only like real offensive threat at all was Barzal driving the middle. Like the speed beat the structure a little bit, but like other than that, they had nothing.
100%. And I will say, that arena, those fans were absolutely electric. I really intently watched like maybe the last 5 minutes of that game, and that place did not quiet down for a second during those 5 minutes. Like, that place was absolutely enormously loud. The fans were going. It was electric. So I give the fans prop. They had a great home game. It showed, where some of these teams maybe home games don't show as much. This one, fans showed up. They brought it just as much as team did. So that was good. Do you have anything else for this series?
Yeah, just one thing like that I noticed was this Islanders team does not look a thing like the Trotz teams.
Correct.
Not one bit. Like defensemen just getting lost out at the point for no reason. Like their structure, it almost looks like it has disappeared.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, this game went a little bit how I expected it to go, but I was a little impressed by the Islanders' control of the puck, offensively at least. They spent more time in the offensive zone than I thought they were going to, but obviously didn't have the quality of shots, didn't really get that many plays in there. The one play that led to a goal, like we said, was kind of like you had to have a good bounce in there and stuff. It's gonna happen, but you got to create your own plays. You got to create those chances, And I don't think they created very many chances. So yeah, I mean that's really that for that series. There's not too much going on there. So let's move on. Next game. This was a great game. I thought this was a fun game. This was another overtime game. The LA Kings 4 to the Oilers 3 into the first overtime, maybe halfway through the first overtime. I think we have a pretty decent amount for this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about this one.
Really, to sum it up, the Oilers came out pretty heavy. They started pretty well with some speed. It kind of tapered off.
Pretty well is putting it lightly. Like I don't think
Fair.
their first period could have gone any better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I'll let you take the floor. Go for it.
Well, like they start out and it looks like okay, this McDavid's taking control, and outside of but after the 2 penalties that he drew, like it was Draisaitl's game and McDavid did not have a good game.
No,
He
not at
really
all.
did not.
Not at all. And that the Leon line with who was on that line? We have
Yamamoto and Kane.
Okay, still that line. That line looked great.
They looked phenomenal.
He was buzzing the whole game. Leon was. He scored 2 goals. No,
Mm-hmm.
he scored 2 goals. So, I mean, they obviously were doing something right, and he was doing a great job. But yeah, you're right. That first line, the Connor line, kind of disappeared a little bit.
Like Draisaitl ate Kopitar alive.
Yeah, 100%.
But on the other end, they had Deneau and Gavrikov on McDavid,
Yeah.
and they made him look terrible.
Yes, 100%.
Like I have one note in here. It just says McTurnover.
What do you think? So moving forward, right? Do you think they make any adjustments? LA, do they try and?
LA, they're going to play like they did make an adjustment in that game. They started playing more of a trap. The defenseman did not step into the zone
Yeah.
really at all. They just slowed it down. Like they really wanted McDavid to try and drive himself against them, and they just said, "We're going to stay in the middle, and we're just going to take you wide each time.
Fair.
You're not driving the middle. You're not driving the net."
Do they think they try to? Do you think LA tries to cater to Leon a little bit more, try to shut that down a little bit more, or you think they're sticking with what they had?
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do. I think they did switch it later in the game. I know like Kopitar more on McDavid
Okay.
because obviously the your big shutdown is Gavrikov and Deneau,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like Connor was just way too cute in that game. Like he, looking off pat like shots, like he passing off, trying to make the pretty play.
Yeah.
This one of them led directly to a turnover that went the other way, and they scored. When he had an open shot lane for himself, it's like either he's got to be more aggressive, or selfish, I should say, or simplify the game because he was doing way too much and not contributing.
100%. I agree. The Athletic has.
Also, yeah, the other thing,
Yeah.
he got murdered on faceoffs.
Yes. I agree.
Absolutely murdered.
Yes. Connor did, you're saying?
Connor.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the third and fourth line, which the Oilers have never had under his tenure, would have whole shifts in the offensive zone, getting him the offensive faceoffs,
Yeah.
which he never had before,
True. Fair.
just to lose it clean,
Yeah.
and it's right out. So all that work the team did to make sure you could be the best version of you, and you squandered it.
The Concerno meter from the Athletic on Edmonton, believe it or not, is a 1 out of 10.
It should be low.
Okay.
No, I think it
Okay.
should be low.
That low?
No, not that low.
Okay.
When McDavid's not going, you don't win games. That's
Fair.
kind of how that team has gone.
Yeah. Now, I assume that the Athletics like, okay, this is hopefully a one-off performance. McDavid will be back and he'll play. He'll be there to play this time.
Well, like they had a great game. They really did. It's just that they screwed up in the crucial times.
Yes, 100%. And Kopitar, being the guy, scores with 16 seconds left in the third period to put it in the overtime. That was huge. That was gigantic, obviously. Showed up in the best time possible. Put it in the overtime, and then, that's all she wrote. They won in overtime.
Because they were the Oilers were way nastier than they ever have been.
Yeah.
Like, the team is clearly better.
Yeah, I get it. 100%.
They need something out of their first line.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I forgot about this. All right, so Jake wanted us to do a player A, player B comparison. I'm going to put it up right now. Here we are. 0 goals both ways. A player with an assist, player A has the assist, has a -1 though. I'm not too favorable to that, especially because they scored a point. So,
2 giveaways.
2 giveaways. Yep. 5 shots on goal though. 8 hits. It's a playoff game. Not bad. No blocks. Had 1
Well, the
takeaway.
Oilers were hitting. Like, they were committed to playing a good game
Yeah.
all around.
Yeah.
But this guy,
Player A.
not great game.
Fair. Player B.
Well, I'm going to let you guess.
Okay.
And who is who?
Are they both same team?
They're both Oilers.
Okay, both Oilers. Forwards? Both forwards?
Yep, both forwards.
Okay, both forwards. That kind of really narrows it down. -1 though. Shots on goal, 5 shots on goal, 8 hits, 2 giveaways, 1 assist. That can't be. That's not McDavid, right?
No.
Player A? No.
That is Zach Hyman, player
that
A.
was my second guess. That
And-
was gonna be my second
And
guess.
player B is Warren Fogle.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow.
A first liner versus a fourth liner, and those are 2 similar stat lines.
I honestly expected Fogel to have more hits, by the way,
Because Fogle had a pretty good game.
but
Like their third and fourth line had a very effective game.
fair.
Their top line struggled.
Fair. Wow. Takeaways, 2 takeaways, no giveaways, 2 giveaways by Zach. That kind of was giving me the Zach Hyman vibes, by the way. The 2 giveaways, and then just the.
Oh, he
the
was brutal
minus.
too.
Yeah. Okay.
He was brutal.
Wow.
He was a 0 factor offensively until like either late in halfway through the overtime. Or yeah,
All right, that's all I got for this game. Corpusalo did pretty good,
yeah.
for what he faced.
Stuart Skinner had some bad rebounds
Yes,
too.
I agree. Yeah, he was not the best in this game. They didn't win, so you want to move on?
Sure.
All right, let's move on. Next game, we have the Boston Bruins. Big surprise, winning this game 3-1 over the Florida Panthers. What do you want to say about this?
You tried. Can we get the Bart Simpson? You tried cake.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is such an overwhelmingly great team, very deep. Just Alex Lyon is the goaltender on that side, and yeah, I get it. He had a pretty decent run to get them into the playoffs, right? But they fell into the worst matchup of the season, and it just. I don't think Alex Lyon's your guy, and it is what it is. But I don't know what you want from this series. It's the Boston Bruins, so
A sick Boston Bruins did that.
yeah. Sick as in good, but also sick as in actually ill. So that's a fact. There are some players on the team. There's a sickness going around. Not the best time. Not the worst time either, though. First round against the Florida Panthers might be, if you're going to pick a time to maybe have a little bit of a sickness, this might be the round where that is okay. So.
What?
And this is no Bergeron. No Bergeron game 1. Will not be a Bergeron game 2. Kind of don't need it at the moment. It's okay. No urgency there.
Yeah, did it seem like Florida was doing that old, what we used to say about the Rangers in that one playoff series where they're
Chasing hits?
chasing the playoff style?
Were they?
To me, it seemed like
I didn't
that.
catch too much of this game.
They were trying to be they were getting overly aggressive early and just getting burned for it.
The Panthers, by the way, on the concernometer, I've been I'm having issues saying that. 2 out of 10. I feel like it should be higher, right? Like we should get maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10. No,
Like a 5.
Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what? Their reasoning was valid. Okay, their reasoning was, at this point, you fell into the worst matchup, right? That you could have fallen into. Like, it is what it is.
So you're not concerned because you knew you didn't have a shot?
No. It's more. Kind of don't expect to win to the series, so the concern is how badly are you going to get beaten, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a brutal
That's
thing
brutal.
for them to have said, by the way. I don't want to read it word for word, but it was very close to something like that. Like, yeah, not a good place to be. Didn't expect it to be a good place to be, but they're maybe not going to get beaten down too bad to lose the series. That's kind of what it was, and I was like, wow.
Well, if they
I guess that's fair.
keep messing up trying to pinch,
Yeah.
it will be brutal.
Alexander Barkov was a no-show for this game, practically.
He's always a no-show. I'm
Just-
so over that dude.
Just an absolute no-show for the game. Carter Verhaeghe didn't really show up. Power play unit didn't show up. Like, there was just not, it just was what it was. What are you going to do? It's not.
Well, yeah.
This is a series where it's not like, it's not Minnesota, Dallas. We're not trying to come up with small little adjustments. This is a massively
Survive.
Yeah, lopsided matchup. So that's just how it is. Do you have anything more for this?
Besides
showed up.
Besides giving some props to Alex Lyon for trying.
Fair.
He did his best, but dude,
Yeah,
like
there was
just-
the puck on the pad. Right?
Yeah, like
saw
you're
that?
just
Did you see the the save and the glove and then Hathaway?
yeah.
Yeah,
was-
swatting his glove and the puck coming out of his glove into the net. Wasn't a goal, right? I don't think
No,
that's a goal.
no.
But it was funny. Hey, if I'm Garnett Hathaway, that's 100% do that every
Oh,
time.
they were working that, Bruins angle
And that's so,
all game of
That's-
just being the bad guys.
yeah, that's all they were. That's so bad, but it's
Immediately, Marchand was already working the refs over.
Yeah.
Like it was a quintessential Bruins game.
Well, yeah, I mean that's that, man. Let's move forward. Let's move on. We're gonna stay in the East this time. Okay, we're gonna get to a series that a lot of people. There's a lot of attention on this series. Okay, there will always be a lot of attention on this series. This series is the Tampa Bay Lightning over the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-3.
All right, let me sit up in my chair. We're doing this one right now.
We're
All right.
doing this one right now. 7-3.
So that
Well,
that
I have one question first.
yeah,
Is it panic button time?
yeah,
Panic button time? It's panic button
Yeah.
time? The Leafs, the fans, panic?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because
Yeah, all
that pink slip is sitting there right on Sheldon Keefe's desk, and he's already halfway signed his name on it.
right. Yes.
That was a baffling coaching decision, like coaching performance. Like my first thing, what is good coaching? Question mark.
You were looking at the wrong bench in this game. If you were
Well,
asking that.
I know the answer to that question. It's the
Yeah,
other side.
Just, you just look at the other bench and there's your
Like if I'm
coaching.
Sheldon Keefe, it's just like you got to have coaching for dummies books on your desk at this moment.
Yeah, it's I mean, do you think John Cooper's just like,
Oh, he's taking him to school.
yeah, he's having a great time.
He's loving life right now.
Yes, 100%. Yep. He's just, and we said this, Jake. What did we say? This might be the most lopsided matchup of. And we broke down the matchups: offense, defense, goaltending, coaching, and we said this coaching matchup may be the most lopsided matchup out of all those categories, out of all the series in this playoffs, and
Yeah.
I think that showed so hard.
A hot seat coach and the best coach in the NHL.
Easily. And there's no argument for maybe either of them. You know? Yeah, you had
Oh, like the Lightning's MO is always first couple games they're going to administer what's called the punk test.
Mm-hmm.
And the Leafs failed miserably.
yeah. 100%.
Like every after the whistle, like we're just going to annoy you. We're just going to do what we want and we're going to say dare you to respond and they just didn't. They just laid down. They did a Leafs thing and just laid down.
yeah.
Like
By the way,
it was bad.
the Concernometer by
That
the
should be a
Athletic.
10.
Well, it's a 5 out of 10. It's
What?
A 5 listen, this is only game 1, but it's 5 out of 10. That 6, they gave 1 6. So that tells you where they're kind of at this
All right.
moment. This was up there, obviously, very up there.
Because that was a horrifying performance if you're a Leafs fan.
And oh my gosh, I mean, it's just
Because this is the best team you guys have had in a long time.
yep.
You have a lot of things that fix problems that you've had, and it looked worse than before.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yep. And I listened to a show from Toronto, right? From two guys, a podcast, a show. And, I mean, they faced the music on it. Like, they were not. They knew what happened, and they were good about it, right? There was no deliriousness in their takes. Like, they were pretty spot on, right? And they were saying, you know, Mitch Marner didn't show up. Austin Matthews obviously didn't show up. You can't expect to win this series without those two guys showing up.
No, they didn't show up. They were erased.
Yeah, erased entirely. That's not okay.
Like the
obviously.
neutral zone was an absolute brick wall.
Yeah.
They could not get through whatsoever.
Yep.
Like unless Toronto skated the puck out of their defensive zone, which means Tampa was changing and let them out, they didn't get out of their own zone.
Yeah, and I gotta look this up real fast. I believe.
I mean, I'm not even done with the Sheldon Keefe stuff
No,
yet,
neither am I. You know what? Neither am I.
because
I just wanted to see something real quick.
the baffling decisions even before the game started.
Yeah.
They went right back to Ryan O'Reilly's second line with Tavares. Problem.
Mm-hmm.
You put Bunting on the top line, which gave Tampa all the power in the world. You know that guy's a hothead, and they can get to him. And him being on the top line, getting the most minutes with everybody else, leads you to having power plays against.
Yeah.
What happened? They started needling him immediately. And especially once Toronto got the 2 goals back to make it a 1-goal game,
Yeah.
they just said, hey, we don't even care about the game, really. When you're on the ice, we're just going to piss you off.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously saw him get heated.
Yeah. Right.
Before the hit even happened, like he's barking at the refs, he's just chirping. That's your moment to say, like, this guy is about to lose it.
Yep.
And you have to make an adjustment. You cannot keep him out there on the top line. Especially when Calle Yarncroke did really well down the stretch on that top line.
He did. Yes, very well.
So to revert back to hothead bunting top line is baffling. And then he does the thing and gets a 5-minute major and the game's over.
Does the thing. That's a fact. No status on it, right? But
Suspension? Oh, he's getting suspended. That's why Nyes is on the ice today.
But we don't have an actual update.
There's a
on
hearing.
It, right? There's a hearing, but no result yet.
He's going to get a game.
He's at least, yeah. Well, I think it should only be one game. You know, it is what it is. First time offender, like.
I don't know.
But
Is it?
it has to be.
I don't think it is.
Well, that'd be kind of nuts.
But that was a bad one.
Yeah, and you know so I got something we gotta play here. Okay, this is
This is the clip you were hiding from me?
This is the clip I didn't want you to see yet because this is this is the icing on the cake for me. Okay, now Samsonov didn't have the best game, right?
Well, if you're bringing up quotes, I'll save what I'm about to bring up because I don't know what you're playing.
Okay,
But I have one in my back pocket.
Samsonov did not have the best game, right? I mean, it's not, but he's your number one goalie. He's your goalie still.
He's your only goalie. Matt Murray's hurt.
Yeah, that's a fact. All right, now here we go.
Sheldon, Joseph Woll coming in for the third period. I know it was a big margin in the game, but is there any consideration to bringing him in to start game 2 or too early to know?
It's too early to know.
What do you think about that?
It's too early to know.
Yeah, but to me, how do you not just... Are you really... Is this a conversation already?
Oh, you mean like he didn't shut it down?
Like, dude, this shouldn't be a conversation. That's not... I don't think those should be the words coming out of your mouth. I don't think that should be it. I think you stick with your guy. You're confident in that decision. He shows no confidence. I think it's a cop-out answer. I don't like it, man. I don't... He's going to be switching lines. He's going to be... I just think it's like... The series is over before it began to me. When the coaching is this unmatched, when it's going so well for John Cooper, right, who is the best coach in the league, he's doing everything perfectly, and he's trying things, and they're falling right into his lap. Everything's going so well for John Cooper. Sheldon Keefe, man.
Dude, the more you look at quotes after that game, the more and more it gets worse.
Yeah.
Like...
What do you got? What was your stuff? What were you going to say?
Besides Tavares basically saying that their refs are showing favoritism.
Yeah, not a thing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
How does that quote even leave your lips?
Yeah, correct.
Second, I forget. I think it was Tavares who said it. I was trying to find it to confirm real quick, but I couldn't find it quickly.
Okay.
Somebody on the Leafs said, "We will learn about about what? You should have that degree already with how many failures you've had."
Or maybe your coach just has no clue what's going on.
Yeah,
and you're not learning anything because Clown Show Keefe over there can't get it together. Strong words. But it's been enough times, right? Has it not been enough? How many failures has Keefe put up on the board?
A ton. It was
in a row now. It's like 4 at least, right?
The first one of his was Columbus.
Well, I'm talking about just Toronto alone.
Yeah, Columbus. The Columbus series.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
That was his first season.
Yeah. Which was how many?
1920, the bubble.
Okay, gotcha. I was wondering 1920. I'm like, what? 100 years ago? Okay, yeah, gotcha. 2019, 2020. Yeah. I was like 19. It's like, what do we? Okay, yeah. So we're going on 4 years of back-to-backs.
Especially in the last two, when you were at least
with no improvement to show. Yeah, you might have had a great regular season last year, right? But
not only no improvement to show, even since the Babcock years. starting slow, giving up goals early,
Yeah.
which that was directly him going right to the fourth line, who got
Yep.
eaten
100%.
immediately, and having a guy who loses his fucking temper and gets suspended game one. Like,
Yes, 100%. That's okay. Ice broken,
yeah,
but okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, could not have been a better sentence for you to curse in. That was like the best moment to have said something. Yeah, no, it's ugly, man. I think it's ugly, and I think this is like rock bottom. Now you're still making playoffs, right? It's not like the team's awful, but coaching is awful at this point.
coaching's bad, and then then the in the room stuff is also a problem because
Yep.
once again, once you got down and it was it was apparent that you were getting ran out of the building, that there's no fight, there's no response, there's no message sending for game two, there's nothing. It's just roll over and die.
Yeah, that's it. That's
And
it. I look forward to
sad
next
puppy
game.
dog faces, and I want to leave. You gotta show something.
Yeah. Do you feel bad for the fans yet at all?
No,
Okay.
I did.
I was wondering if you were going
I
to be
did
that guy.
like years ago, but then when they got all these guys, they got so cocky in your face about
Correct.
talking and talking and talking, and then now I just don't feel bad for you. You deserve it.
Fair. Fair. Strong words, but fair. Yeah, panic button time.
Tell me again how Matthews is better than McDavid.
Oh, yeah. It's not a conversation at the moment. Yeah, it's panic button time for Toronto, and I think we leave it at that, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Next game. 5-1, by the way. This is a win, and that's already nice. But 5-1, the Winnipeg Jets over the Vegas Golden Knights. Did we expect this at all?
No.
No, and this maybe had to be one of the most opposite dominant performances of what we expect. You and I were very correct almost throughout the whole game one, every series. This was very wrong. This was the most dominant against us performance that we've had. 5-1. I mean, that's so ugly. And to the just the most egregious part about it, Vegas, third period, right? You're down, obviously. You got to try to make something happen. 2 shots.
Yeah, they got clamped.
2 shots the entire third period of this game.
I'll make it even worse. There was only 25 attempts at 5-on-5 the whole game. Attempts.
Yeah, attempts. Yeah. I'm shocked, if I'm going to be honest. I am shocked. But
no, it was just good defense.
yeah.
That was a defensive clinic.
Hollebeck was good. Didn't need to be fantastic. 100% didn't need to be
Well,
fantastic.
when he had a couple,
Performed.
when there was actually a clear shot that they shot on, just answered.
Yeah.
Didn't even look like he sweat.
Yeah. So, okay. The concernometer, 6 out of 10. Vegas Knights. How do you feel about that?
Well, the fact that you just got outworked.
Outworked.
That was really what it was.
2 shots in the third period.
Because Winnipeg was committed
Yes.
to doing the hard work that whole
Yes.
game. And it paid off.
And we glossed over the series in the preview because we were like, Winnipeg's hurt, dude. Winnipeg is
Limping
not.
into the playoffs.
Yep.
Everybody hates each other.
Lopsided matchup.
Everybody's ice cold.
Yes.
First game, they just say, "Hey, we're working our butt off today."
Yeah. No. You thought we were.
They packed 2 lunches.
Yeah, just fantastic, dude. Absolutely fantastic. And Vegas, I mean, you can only go up from here at this point, but you got to do something, dude. You cannot let this series at home put you down 0-2 in the series. You cannot let that happen in this. And then you go.
And taking that back to
the whiteout.
Winnipeg and the whiteout.
That's ugly. And that's not. I didn't think we'd ever be saying that in this fashion in this series. That's ugly.
No, not at all.
But that's ugly.
Even more shocking, like first game, Blake Wheeler scores.
Yeah. 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 I remember you were excited about that last night.
Well,
You
yeah,
were-
because it's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
He hasn't scored a goal in like 2 months.
Yeah. But what a. I have no words for the Vegas Knights here. Like, you just got to perform, man. You cannot let a team beat you down. A team that was unmatched. A team that has no business doing what they did to you.
Well, I just think Vegas walked in there and expected to win.
I think
Like they looked sloppy,
Yep.
they looked disinterested, and
Yep.
and Winnipeg just came and said, "We're outworking you today."
I agree. 100%. Mark Stone, maybe not 100%. Jack Eichel, first time he's seen playoffs.
A decent game.
Yeah, well, yeah, but, he's not first time, I guess.
Oh, he had a decent game. I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard. It's pick out the one or two players who did.
Yeah, yeah, but just not. You need a whole team effort here, and this is a team that you shouldn't be any shy of having a whole team effort in Vegas and showing up and doing the thing. They didn't even come to play in the third period. They
They
just
couldn't
didn't.
play all game.
Yeah. Yep. This is an ugly. I just want to see what happens next.
Yeah, what's the response?
I hope this is not an outlier for Winnipeg, but I think there still could be a chance that this is an outlier for Winnipeg.
Well, I mean, if there's anything that's going to fix the bad vibes in the room, it's having stringing a couple games together before going home.
100%. 100%. Okay, let's move on. Seattle over Colorado, another surprise, another away team win, 3-1 over the defending Stanley Cup champions, Colorado Avalanche.
Surprising what happens when you actually have to play a playoff game 5-on-5.
Correct. Correct.
Can we say they stole the pump thing?
You could
The-
say that.
the fan-
I don't know any. I have no knowledge of that.
The fan base that likes to claim everything that's basic and
And every other-
that it's theirs.
And maybe not every other fan base does that, but
Can you tell we don't like them?
I've never.
We,
It's a fact. Yeah, it's Yanni Gord, player of the game, player of the series so far, shutting down Nathan McKinnon
not really.
and Mikko Rantanen. I don't know. I got a different impression of that.
To me, that was
I
the only-
think
that
he
was the only
limited
line
them
doing.
as much as he
Yeah,
possibly
he
could.
limited them, but it was the only line that did anything.
Yeah,
The
but
depth was bad.
that's Nathan McKinnon didn't produce. This is.
The one goal they scored was the two of them.
Did he have an assist?
Yeah.
Is that why? Oh, okay.
He,
Well,
he-
fair. But
from nice pass from the half wall down to the corner of the net for.
fair. I guess I missed that one. But we didn't say it. We're going to backtrack for a second here. All right. We're going to backtrack for a second here. Jason actually texted it to us. Jason was on last episode. A part of us, our number 3, said
Intern.
that we should give the Between the Benches honorary Warrior of the Game or Warrior of the League award to, what's his name? Mark Barron?
Morgan.
Morgan. I knew it began with the name. Morgan Barron for getting his face shoved into a goalie skate blade and going back, getting 75 stitches on his forehead, and then sitting on the bench casually like nothing happened and playing.
Yeah, that was
Dude. Insane.
nuts.
Nuts. Absolute performance.
Landed on
Warrior.
a knife.
And it's not even like a regular skate, too. It's a goalie skate. So it's like
Flat.
flat and longer. And just like shoved his face onto skate and just, it's gnarly. It's not gruesome. Like if you watched it, it's not gruesome. So if you haven't seen it, maybe I will say, hey, if you're curious, I encourage you to look it up. It's not gruesome. We've seen a lot more gruesome stuff, so you're not going to be grossed out. But it's brutal. It's gnarly. Shoved his face into the skate blade. 75 stitches. Still playing.
75. Wow.
I don't even understand how that happens. Like, 75 stitches where? Like, that's crazy. Put his forehead back on his head. So, pretty wild. All right, back to these guys. Back to
Oh yeah.
back to the series again.
When we're done with the last series, I have some injury updates
Perfect.
for
Awesome.
game twos.
Great. I'm glad you. Thank you. So yeah. Also, fans, Colorado fans. Apparently, the buzz. I haven't seen too much of it, but I have heard the buzz is we're blaming Lars Eller a little bit. Absurd to me.
How about top players do
Yeah.
things?
Yeah. You don't blame.
But you know, they
You're
only
gonna
do things in
blame-
the power play in that
Yeah.
that city.
You're gonna blame a bottom 6 player for what? You're not showing up. Where?
How about beat the goalie that stonewalled you all game that you know intimately well?
Intimately well. A little bit of a revenge game, huh? From Grubauer. Grubauer like
Oh yeah, he
saying,
was
"Nah, you
solid.
you did this." 100%. 100%. Yeah. There was I listened to a Colorado show. I went in and I listened cuz I have a rather large car ride for work. So I go in and I'm like, "Hey, what team's epically lost that I can listen to the shows and see what the buzz is, see what the consensus is about the stuff, because that's entertaining. I don't want to hear anything about Winnipeg, their people. Yeah, it was great. I know that. I want to see what Vegas has to say about themselves, right? So I went to Colorado and they were like, the guys were cool, very cool guys that I was listening to. And they said, there might have been a chance where they went to the locker room and was like, hey, Donskoy, Burakovsky, Grubauer, like, we're doing this, right? This is a revenge thing. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this is what we do. And then went out in there and did it and killed it. I thought that was just funny thinking about that. Like, if that happened, if there was any chance that they were like, we got to do this and did it, that's awesome. Good for them. Guys that, if they wanted revenge. I don't really think there's a revenge thing there for Burakovsky. Just won the cup. Grubauer, on the other hand, they said, nah, get out of here. Won the cup without him.
Did Burakovsky even play?
This game?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I don't think he did.
Might not have. But he still knew the system. So, you know what I mean? I don't think it was like
No,
that.
he's on IR, and so is Donskoy.
I think it was more of like, what does this team do kind of stuff? Like, go kill it, That's
Well,
what they were alluding to.
The north-south,
But,
like, full steam stuff that
Yeah.
the Avalanche normally do.
yeah.
That's what Seattle did back to them, and the lower pairs definitely struggle with it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you do have a little bit of an asset in talking to Burakovsky and them, because the system hasn't changed. You have the whole coaching staff is still there. The core is still there in Colorado. Burakovsky knows the people, he knows the system, knows the people, all of that, and I'm sure it hasn't changed much, So, hey, if you're talking to a guy, he's your guy. So, but man, it was an ugly game, I thought. I mean, it was ugly.
What's the
It was ugly.
concernometer? Because I don't think it should be that high.
The
but
concernometer, I bet you, is
like
1.
a 2.
It's a 2. Look at that. Good job.
I did not read the article.
2 out
I
of 10.
swear.
You did not. He did not. That's a fact. That's a fact. Only I did. Yeah, it's a 2. 2 out of 10. No big deal. But yeah, that's ugly series. Seattle came up and they showed out. Good for them. Great for them. And Colorado got, Oh. I don't know if you saw this, but I got a notification earlier about the game. I don't know if it was a Seattle notification. It probably was. Notification where the headline was "Smells like Teen Spirit," and I was like, "Oh man, that's brutal. That's savage, dude." All right, let's move on to our last one. I don't have one of those cool covers because ESPN didn't make one of those cool covers, but real fast, I'm just gonna throw this up here because I can. Just so we know the subject matter. The Devils versus the Rangers. What was the final score? Do you know off the top of your head?
4-1,
It was-
5-1.
Yeah, it was good to almost nothing. Is really what that was.
It was one team showed up, one didn't.
Correct. So
One got a penalty
Yeah.
shot.
yeah, nope, not even a real thing. 5-1, 5-1. That's where it was. There we go. Really 4-0.
Yeah, it was an empty. Yeah.
Empty net, and then just handed the other thing. So, but it was really 4-0. This is the real game time that matters part. 4-0, and very ugly for the Devils. Also, though, for you and I, probably not surprising.
No.
First game, I went on a whole rant 2-3 days ago saying, hey, Devils fans, PSA, this is a milestone for you guys. Like, not a milestone, a stepping stone for your team. You're gonna get hit with playoffs, like in the face.
And they did.
And that's fine.
What are you doing?
I don't know what's going on here. Okay, guys, sure. Something freaked out just now. Not me, by the way. Let's do this. We're back. That was... did not touch a single thing. So, okay. We're back. Said Devils fans, PSA, you're getting smacked in the face with playoffs. Did get smacked in the face with playoffs.
Yeah, they got
And
literally
you learn.
smacked in the face because
Just-
that start was as timid as I could see one.
Yeah. You just gotta... That's fine.
You know, maybe when your home arena is mostly blue and white
Yeah, dude.
and
that was-
actually full, but with opposing fans, it's a little intimidating.
Saw a lot of tweets of people being like, wow, great home win for the Rangers. Wow, that goal was loud because Rangers. So, it's a fact. We said it.
You know, a lot of times I try to say things.
The Devils
I try-
fans,
I
they don't want
try.
to listen, Jake.
It's like Devils.
They don't
and
want
then,
to. They
like,
don't want to listen.
Leafs things. Like the two of them, I'm just like I'm locked in on what's going on, and it's just right over their head. They don't even see it, and it just smacks them in the face.
Yeah.
I got receipts for years.
Oh, we have Devils receipts that don't end. The receipt, it's like Santa's list. It's just like top, like you've seen
Okay.
Santa movies, right? The
like,
Santa
I guess I'll
Claus
go in my
movies,
bag
it
here
unrolls
and
it, and it's just like, yep,
Just pull this one out. Okay, on
yeah. Doesn't end. It's until you learn, I guess. I don't know, but Devils fans, if you're not ready for this, it's a rude awakening, and it's fine. There's nothing bad about it, okay? Every team goes through it. The Rangers just got hit in the face with playoffs like a couple years ago. We watched it happen. They looked awful, and they got stomped on. Now they improve. They had a late run last year, conference finals. They know what they're doing now. And Kane and Tarasenko, experience. Experience is it. That's the theme here. That is it. I don't think there's other factors other than that.
I think it was more of bad Devils, less of good Rangers.
I agree.
Like, the
Yeah.
Rangers did the things that they do, and the Devils just kind of said, we're going to revert to John Hines mode.
Yeah.
The defense
Dude,
was so bad. Like,
offense was just as... They couldn't get...
well, they didn't get out of their own zone. They couldn't,
That
like,
too.
they didn't have offense.
That too.
Like, their defense was atrocious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they had that optional practice today. Like, all of you should be bag skated.
Yes.
The defense, at least.
Yep, 100%. Well, forwards need to do something defensively
Well, you can't
as well,
just let-
too, sometimes.
Walk right on the rush down to your goal.
Yeah.
The Tarasenko goal.
Yep.
You got bullied in front, like the Lindgren goal. I think it was Kreider just goes to the net, takes two guys with him, and they can't move them.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 Kreider goals as well. And you know
And
who couldn't get
nobody
anywhere?
in any passing or shooting lane.
Yes.
Like the lanes were
Yeah.
wide open all
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. And I never like saying it about the refs, but the Devils were given chances by the refs,
yeah.
man. You got to capitalize. You can't not
They called
capitalize
some
on that stuff.
ticky tack stuff on the Rangers.
They did, and you gotta take that when you get it. Like that's something you gotta run.
yeah,
with.
Colorado won a cup that way.
100%. You gotta didn't show up. I mean, there's times I'm sure that they didn't put shots on whatsoever during power plays, like whole power plays. I wouldn't be surprised if
No, they
the
had
Devils
0
didn't get a
through
shot.
4.
0 shots.
0 shots through 4 power plays.
You lose a game. That's it.
That's it. You don't win.
You do not win. That alone, you don't win a game if that's the case. Case, end point.
You know, There are things that do not work in the playoffs, and that was a lot of things the Devils did and had success in the regular season for.
Yeah. It's, hey, again, listen. You live and you learn. Like, that's it right here. That's all you do. You try to win this series if you can, but you learn a lot. That's your goal. Learn a lot. Come back next year. Have a future. Don't have today.
I mean, I'm still laughing at John Marino thinking this Kel McClure carries it in,
Yeah.
immediately turns it over to a 2-on-1.
It was just ugly. Ugly play all the way around for the Devils. They were not ready.
I think I turned to Dan when we were watching the game, and I'm like, as it was
Friend.
happening, and I'm like, what is he doing? This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And as soon as he gets around the net, loses it, and it's turned
That's a
2-on-1 the other way.
That's a fact. That's a fact. What is my concerno-meter for the Devils? 3 out of 10. I think, well,
What?
there might be a basis of, like, you haven't been here.
Well, they can
Maybe
respond,
you
because that was
learn.
not a Lindy team I just
Yeah,
watched.
I agree. They can respond. There's a lot of playoff left. A
They-
lot of playoff
They
left.
went right to John Hines Devils, not Lindy Ruff Devils, so maybe they could fix it.
This is your jitter game.
Yeah.
Get it out. You know? Leave that behind. You learned. You might have been nervous. Might have been very nervous, right? That's the nervous. And then
Yeah, Jack Hughes saying he's not nervous. He had a decent game.
Did
Like,
he?
he did. He had an okay game.
Okay.
At least, like,
3 shots on goal the whole game.
like, it's not like no
Gotta
one of the
give
Devils
him
had
a
a
little bit
great game.
Correct. Nico had 5 shots on goal. He was the only one that had more than 3. He was really the only one that had more than 2 other than Jack. And
But at
Yeah.
least I'll give Jack some credit, although I think it's for... So when the game was bad, like, he started trying to throw his weight around a little bit. But
hey,
I don't think
you know what, though?
I don't think it was message sending things like what we're talking about. I think it was more...
What can I do?
I'm angry, and I'm going to
okay.
just,
I'm okay with that.
throw a tantrum, basically.
Well, I don't want to word it that way, but I'm okay with if the game's lost,
It's more fight than what the Leafs showed all game.
that's a fact. That is a fact. If the game's lost, learn. Like, just use the time to figure out what's going on. Throw your weight around, see what happens. Do the things. What the heck? Why not, right?
Oh, yes. I mean, if you have that moment where you hit somebody and they're just going to take it, then...
Yeah. There was a time last night I looked at you and I was like, they got to start. They just
Yeah.
do, like,
Start doing
just
it.
running into everything. Just whatever you see, run into it.
Snow the goalie.
Yeah. Start.
All those little pest things, just start doing them. And if,
Yep.
and if the Rangers aren't going to respond to it, then
the
keep
game.
doing it, and eventually it'll lead to stuff.
You're not playing to win that game anymore. You're now playing to play the rest of the series.
Yeah,
You
to win game 2, 3.
yeah. To lay a foundation. Your game's over now. Still had 6 minutes left. Lay a foundation for the rest of the series. Show them, hey, you want to win a game, you'll pay a little bit, right?
I think they
But
really need to come out game 2,
firing.
dump and chase, and just murder people in the corners.
Yeah. I
First
agree.
shift, just start whomever you want to do that's going to lay the body first, right off the face-off, dump it right into the corner, cross, and just full send.
I also think the Rangers expect you to play away right now. They expect you to play how you played. They expect this game to just be the same.
They expect you to
You know?
shrink from it.
Yeah. So go out there, take them off guard immediately.
This applies to the Leafs too.
Yeah, 100%.
This is what you need to do.
And that's all on Sheldon Keefe. Because, if that was John Cooper on the other side.
Oh,
it'd be-
you're getting murdered right off the face-off.
Yeah. It'd be like Winnipeg. Winnipeg said, you don't think we're in the series. Two goals first minute. Done deal. Was it 2 goals first minute?
No,
Was it
they
that
didn't
one?
score to the second period.
Okay. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe
It was
there's a-
early in the second period,
Okay, maybe that's
but
what
and
it
they were
was.
close together, but it was second period.
Okay, maybe that's I thought it was right off the bat. It might have been right off the bat, second period. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. That's also possible. All right. Well, I mean, that kind of rounds out that. I know you wanted to say injury talk, right? That's it.
Yeah, just some quick updates.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Pavelski's concussion protocol, so whatever
Yeah.
that means. Bergeron,
It's also been 2 days. So, if you're still in, I guess that means he has a concussion and he's following protocol. Not
yeah, he's not playing tonight.
I always
Not a
took
shot.
concussion protocol to be they're deciding if he has a concussion, and then, but at this point we know, and that definitely means he
Well,
does.
he's had a lot of concussions
He
and
has.
head injuries. So
He has. It's unfortunate.
he's I would highly doubt he plays the rest of this series, unless it goes 7,
Yeah, it is
and
unfortunate.
he'll play Game 7 maybe.
This could also very well go to 7 still.
Why? Yeah. Okay. Bergeron out Game 2
Yep, injury, not sickness.
apparently.
Apparently.
Sam Bennett will dress for Florida. Gabe Velarde will dress for LA.
Why did you not dress Sam Bennett game 1?
I think he was hurt. He wasn't playing.
Okay, all right, good. You got to dress him if you have the chance.
Hedman day to day. Cernak will not play.
Don't like that.
I believe that's
You believe that's it?
Esama. No,
That's a Lindell.
no, the other one. Esama. I can't really say his name.
Oh gosh, I don't. It's not something I know. I don't have knowledge.
Yeah, but if that's the right way to say his name, will not play.
Got it. Do we have a Ryan Hartman?
No, nothing on Ryan Hartman.
Just like we see if it happens. If there's no news, then he's playing.
Yeah, I take no news as good news.
I agree. Right? It has to be that.
I've not seen anything.
Let's get a real fast. Yeah. No. Okay. I got nothing. So I assume he's playing.
Well, the fact that Cernak will not play, like you can almost guarantee, I would say, Bunting gets 2.
That's also true.
I'm gonna say
It's
it's
possible.
2.
It's possible. All right, I think that kind of rounds it up. If you've been watching, you will see at the bottom we have the scores, and coming across the bottom right now, between the benches, is us, our Instagram. We're Twitter, TikTok, all active at the moment. Very simple handle, by the way, Jake. I don't know if you noticed. I managed to hit the easiest handle in the world, BTBFTF. That's the entire freaking handle for Twitter and TikTok. Easy. And then, we're on YouTube. If you're watching this, you know that. So, thank you for watching. And then we will be back in like 2 days. And we'll give you the next news. Game 2s. Everyone have a great time. And let's get it.